Hey guys, it's Corinne. This is part 2 of our Inner Conversation series where I quote Neville Goddard and read through his books where he talks about inner conversation and how our inner conversations are really going before us and influencing our reality. This book is Imagination Creates Reality. It's a really thin book. It's one of my favorite books by Neville Goddard, and he has a very small chapter on inner conversation, and here it goes. All of us are mentally speaking within ourselves every waking moment. Our inner conversations must match the desire, must match the wish fulfilled if we would realize our desire. If our desire is for a better job, we would imagine ourselves being congratulated because we are gainfully employed in a wonderful position. We must also make our inner conversations conform to that end. We must be certain that we are not saying within ourselves something like, that boss of mine doesn't believe in promoting people, or it would be difficult to find a job at my age, never mind a better one, or similar statements that would imply that we do not have that which we desire. We must persist in the feeling of our imaginal act by making our mental conversations conform to what we would say we already realized. Wait a minute. We must persist in the feeling of our imaginal act by making our mental conversations conform to what we would say had we already realized our aim. If, for instance, we wish to own a new car, we could imagine a new car parked in our garage, or imagine ourselves driving it, or imagine our friends admiring it. We must then make our inner conversations reflect this type of conversations that we would engage in were we really the owner of a new car. Our inner conversations could consist of discussing our new car with our friends, such as telling them of the wonderful fuel mileage that we are receiving, or hearing our friends tell us how much they enjoy riding in our new car. Our inner conversations are just as creative as our deliberate imagining of the wish fulfilled. They go hand in hand, in my opinion. In fact, if they are opposite in nature, they can negate what we have imagined. You must watch what you are saying internally to make sure that these conversations coincide with your wish fulfilled. If you become aware that these inner talks contradict what you would like to achieve, revise them so that they follow along the track that would indicate that you already have your desire or are already the person you wish to be. So my interpretation of these inner conversation is we are always having conversation, engaging with ourselves. What are we going to do next? This is what I got to do when I get up. We're always plotting and thinking and talking to ourselves. So say, for example, your desire is to be in a wonderful relationship. Maybe you and your partner separated, or maybe you're looking for a new relationship. Rather than having the inner conversation that they don't want to be with you and, whatever you believe you don't want, have your imaginal act. One, hear in your imaginal act them telling you that you are the love of their life, how much they enjoy being with you. And then throughout the day, you want to have these inner conversations. You want to use affirmations that they love me so much. They're literally texting me all the time. It's so wonderful now that we're back together. And you want these inner conversations to match what your imaginal act is. So, for example, with that special person, if your desire is for you guys to be back together, happily married, and say you have this imaginal act that you guys are on your honeymoon and you are so happy that you are together and you guys are living your best life, when you are talking to yourself throughout the day, you may just randomly say, isn't it so wonderful that my wife and I, my husband and I, my partner and I are happily married and we get to spend the rest of our lives together, and you don't want to think the opposite, like, oh gosh, they still haven't replied to my text. So if you find yourself going back to the old story, just redirect. they always reply to my text. It's so wonderful that they always reply to me immediately and that we're happily married, living our best life. And that's how I use inner conversations to match my imaginal act. If your imaginal act is for your desire to have abundance and money, and in your imaginal act you just see that you have, say, $50,000 in your bank account, or $100,000, or whatever it is that you desire. Isn't it wonderful now that I have over $50,000 in my bank account? I'm so happy that I now have an abundance of money in my bank account, and I'm free to do anything that my heart desires. And then throughout the day, say you get an email that you don't like or implies that you need to pay something, just revise that and turn that into an affirmation inner conversation. Isn't it wonderful that my bank account is constantly growing? I just got my new statement and I just have an abundance of money. Our external world is always a reflection of our internal world, because our thoughts produce some type of feeling. It may not be a strong feeling, but our thoughts and our conversations are producing a feeling which is magnetic and is pulling it back to us. So if your desire is not already tangible here yet, when you have that imaginal act, make your inner conversations match it. I sometimes will use the word inner conversation and affirmations interchangeably, because an affirmation is just a statement. And if you're having conversations in your mind, which we all are having conversations in your mind, then you're telling yourself something. So affirmations don't have to be this formal thing. Whatever you tell yourself, that is your affirmation. So if you tell yourself that I don't have enough money, you are affirming that you don't have enough money. So you have your imaginal act, see and feel and experience that freedom, that you have this abundance of money and that you're free to do anything that your heart desires. And then throughout the day, have that conversation with yourself about how wonderful it is now that you have an abundance of money. And it feels so great that all my expenses are paid for and all my needs are met. And the two need to go hand in hand. And that was Neville's point. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will catch you on the next video, which is part 3 of Inner Conversations.